Welcome back. So far in this course, we've covered how to understand your time pressures, how to prioritize using the clinical priority matrix, and how to streamline documentation. Today, we're tackling something that many healthcare professionals feel is completely outside their control: interruptions. And I understand why it feels that way. In a hospital or clinic, being accessible is part of being professional. Patients need you, colleagues need you, the system needs you to respond. How do you protect your focus in that environment without becoming the person who's never available? The answer lies in shifting from accidental availability to intentional availability. Let me start with a brief look at why interruptions are so costly, not just in time, but in cognitive terms. Research from the University of California, Irvine found that after a significant interruption, it takes an average of 23 minutes for a person to fully return to their original task. In healthcare, you rarely have 23 uninterrupted minutes, which means that many clinicians are spending entire shifts in a state of partial attention, never fully present on any single task. This isn't just a time issue. It's a patient safety issue. Studies link interruptions during medication administration, for example, to a significantly increased risk of error. The evidence is clear. Protecting focus is part of delivering safe care. So how do we do this in a practical, clinical environment? The first strategy is the focus window. A focus window is a defined, brief period, typically 15 to 30 minutes, during which you are doing a cognitively demanding task, and your team knows not to interrupt unless it's a true emergency. Many clinical units have started formalizing this concept. Some have a physical signal, a colored sash worn during medication administration, for example, that communicates to colleagues, "I see you and I'll be with you in a few minutes, but please don't interrupt me right now unless it's critical." You don't need a system-wide policy to implement this. You can start by communicating to your immediate colleagues. For the next 20 minutes, I'm going to be doing focused charting or medication preparation. Unless it's urgent, can we connect at the end of that window? The second strategy is the permission-based interruption framework. This is a simple mental filter you can teach your team to apply before interrupting anyone. The question is this something that needs to happen in the next 5 minutes, or can it wait 15? If the honest answer is that it can wait, then it should go into a batched communication rather than an immediate interruption. You can model this behavior yourself. When you need to approach a colleague with a question, consider whether it truly needs to happen right now or whether you can compile 2 or 3 things to discuss together when there's a natural pause. This batching approach can reduce the number of interruptions on a floor by 30 to 40% without any loss of critical communication. The third strategy, and perhaps the most important one, is team communication redesign. Many interruptions don't come from bad intentions. They come from unclear expectations. If your colleagues don't know when you'll be available, they'll interrupt you whenever they have a need, because that feels safer than waiting. But if you create a predictable rhythm, for example, brief check-ins at the top of every hour or a shared communication board where non-urgent items are logged, the number of real-time interruptions drops significantly. Now, let's talk about saying no, or more precisely, redirecting. Because there are moments when a colleague or even a patient will make a request that competes with something more important you're doing. How do you handle that professionally? The key is what I call the acknowledge, delay, confirm approach. You acknowledge the request, "I hear you," and that's important. You briefly delay, "I'm in the middle of something time sensitive right now," and you confirm when you'll follow up, "I'll be with you in about 10 minutes. This 3-step approach respects the other person's need, protects your focus, and creates a clear commitment, which is far more effective than either ignoring the request or dropping what you're doing. Your takeaway for today: you can be both focused and available. The key is creating shared, clear expectations about when and how to reach you. Focus windows, batched communication, and the acknowledge, delay, confirm approach will give you practical tools to do that, starting with your very next shift. In Lesson 5, we're going to talk about delegation and teamwork, specifically how to let go of tasks without losing control, and how to build a team rhythm that amplifies everyone's effectiveness. I'll see you there.